How do I know if my marriage is fixable? Hi, I'm Bill Farias, founder of Farias Family Law. And for the last about 15 years, I've been in a position to hear stories from people about what's happening in their marriage, why things are not working out. And it's led me to think about sort of a formula for analyzing what the key issues are when a marriage breaks down and how to think about whether it's worth fixing the marriage or if the person should move toward divorce. Obviously, this is a very subjective analysis. Everybody's different. Some people are perfectly okay being in a marriage that doesn't really fulfill them. Some people want that level of fulfillment. Some people want to be in a relationship that makes them really happy and want to take steps toward um, fixing their relationship or moving on. And so I think the best way to analyze this is to break it down into two separate but related inquiries. And this, I find, helps people figure out whether they want to do work on the marriage or if they want to move toward divorce. The biggest mistake, in my experience, that people make is sort of straddling the fence and doing nothing. They're in a relationship that really isn't working out, and understandably, they are afraid to make a move. Some of these people know that it's not going to work, but it's just too painful to think about a split and everything that goes with it. Children, finances. And so they just kind of sit. It's like the frog in boiling water, where they just kind of sit there and it gets hotter and hotter, and then they feel like it's just too late to jump out, and they end up in long relationships that sort of hurt them mentally and hurt their overall well-being, but they just don't do anything about it. So how can you analyze this? What's a constructive and helpful framework for thinking about this issue of whether a person should fix the marriage or move toward divorce? So first of all, think about individual issues. These are very common. Somebody might have a mental health issue that's untreated, a substance abuse issue that's untreated, a gambling addiction. So these issues are unique in the sense that if the person who has the individual issue is not willing to acknowledge it and or is not willing to do anything about it and work on it consistently until it's at least under control and preferably resolved, then it's going to be very difficult in some cases to live with that person happily, right? Like think about the most common issues are substance abuse and mental health issues. If you have somebody who falls into that category and is not willing to acknowledge that there is something to be worked on, then the other spouse is going to encounter the same problems and the same issues again and again. And what I find is in these cases, very rarely does it help to do couples counseling or marriage counseling because the root issue is an individual issue. And so and certainly some of the issues bleed over into the marriage and affect the marriage, but if the root issue is not treated and taken care of, then marriage counseling is really not going to make that much of a difference. I mean, it may help the other spouse be more compassionate, be more helpful, understanding, but at the end of the day, it is unlikely to resolve the core root individual issue. And so the point of all this is that if there is an individual issue that is not being acknowledged and addressed, then it is going to be very difficult to make that marriage work. The next issue is the marital issue. And so whether it's an individual issue that's affected the relationship, or something else that happened. Maybe it's a breach of trust. Maybe people just the spouses just drifted apart, right? They started doing different things and spending less time together. And so in that case, you need to have both individuals committed to addressing those issues and coming up with a plan to improve in those deficient areas going forward. Otherwise, the same thing is probably going to repeat, and you're going to be in a situation where you are again questioning whether you want to stay in the marriage. So the key here is that both people need to want to do the work to fix the marriage and to come up with a plan to do what's necessary to minimize the risk that these issues will crop up in the future. So if either individual is not committed to putting that time and effort in, then again, it is unlikely that the marriage is going to work. And then you'll end up right where you were and questioning whether you want to be in the marriage. So this is a helpful way to look at it, because it's a very difficult decision. It's very subjective. And again, the biggest mistake that I've seen people make is to do neither, to do no work or analysis on the issues that are causing the conflict and the tension. And there's really no effort to fix anything. And then they also don't move toward divorce, and they just stay in a relationship indefinitely and they're unhappy. So I challenge you to at least think about these issues, and that will put you in a position to, or at least in a better position to figure out whether this is worth fixing and saving, or if you need to move on and start a new chapter. If you have any questions, you can call us 508-675-0464. You can email us at info@fariousfamilylaw.com. And you can also find us on social at Farious Family Law. Thank you. Have a good day.